everyone. First, I would like to thank you for your cooperation and help and patience. I'm kind of new to this whole thing, but we're just going ahead and jump right into it. First, I want to thank you all for joining me um, for this webinar. We will be talking about the 5 steps to discovering your personal brand story. My name is Quisha E. I am a creative consultant as well as a public relations specialist, and I will be guiding you along the path to not only discovering your personal brand story, but also sharing it with others in a way conducive to your life and career goals. Although I am conducting this webinar for my Events and Production course and my Master's of Public Relations degree, I've decided to take this angle for my webinar because I have a strong connection for helping others discover their passion in life. And discovering your personal brand story is just the first step in the right direction for discovering your passion. So without further ado, let us begin. All right, so Uh, uh, yep. So first, let's see, what is a personal brand? The short version of this is a personal brand is you. The long version is personal brand is a special combination of knowledge, skills, experience, and expertise that makes you unique and memorable in the eyes of others. That makes you unique and memorable in the eyes of others. Your personal brand is basically your reputation, and whether you like it or not, is being built with or without you. That is why it is time to start branding yourself. Regardless of if you know it, all the things that you do in your everyday life build your personal brand. So now it's time to take the first step to defining your brand. And the first step to building your personal brand story is defining your brand, which really just means defining yourself. Who are you? You know, Operation Define Yourself. If you look anywhere else, you'll see several articles speaking about defining your brand as a quick step so that you may move on to the next steps of branding. When in fact, defining your brand story is not quick at all. It may be for some that have taken courses in branding, but it's not for most. And it requires you defining your career, your life, and your goals. It also requires a bit of transparency and a lot of honesty with yourself. Uh, to begin with defining your brand or yourself, you have to start with your personal history. Like I said, it requires being very honest and transparent with yourself. Um, and be trans you have to be transparent with yourself and others about a lot of things that have happened to yourself in the past. What are some major life events that have happened that you believe have brought you to where you are today? For instance, how was your childhood? How are your past relationships? How is your family? How is your family now? What are some major life events that have happened to you? Also, keep in mind, not all past history has to be negative, but it definitely has to be yours. People do not want to hear stories that they've already heard before from other people. When you're building your personal brand or your personal brand story, it requires you sharing your personal history. And there are a lot of things that have happened to you in your past that are unique to you as a person, and you'd be surprised at how well they help other people along. Um, Next, let us move on to the victories in your life. What are some major accomplishments, in your life so far? These do not have to necessarily be career-wise, they can also be life-wise. For instance, one of my major accomplishments was being the first person in my family to not only go to college, but graduate from a university. And this is a personal victory of mine that I can use for my career goals, since I was so driven to be the first person in my family to go to college. I carry that same driven attitude into a lot of my career goals. Um, and that's how you have to think of it. Your personal victories It's a time to just kind of showcase your strengths. What have you done in your life that you're most proud of and have made you who you are today, in your opinion? Um, and it's also great just to create this list of victories in order to keep you motivated when times are hard. But what about those hard times? Next, we have to move into personal failures. What are some failures you have experienced in your life? This is not nothing to be ashamed of. It's a time to be completely honest with yourself and others. Nobody is perfect, and pretending to be makes you unrelatable to others. List all the failures in your life so that people know that you're not as perfect and that you can and will overcome those failures. Um, one of my personal failures was not graduating on time. Even though I was the first person in my family to go to college, I did not graduate on the scheduled time to graduate, I guess you could say. I got pregnant at a young age and had to leave school before I could graduate on time. I was very devastated by this failure. However, I did not allow it to cripple me as a person. Like I said, I'm a driven person, so I allowed this driven attitude to keep me going on the path to being the first person in my family to graduate, regardless of my circumstances. And I managed to do it. I somehow managed to work two jobs, raise a daughter by myself, and get a bachelor's of art degree in psychology from the University of Phoenix. Um, but at the time, it just seemed like a failure to me, and it was a failure to not be able to graduate with the rest of my class. But failures are not the end of the world, although they may seem like they are at the time. They are not. And in some instances, people uh, want you to fail faster. I don't know the exact quote on that, but I do remember hearing something along the lines of failing faster kind of sets the pace for more victories. If you experience a few failures in life, you now know what to do and what not to do so that you can have a lot more victories in life. And the classic line, failure is the key to success. And it really is. You learn a lot more from failures than you do from successes. Um, Now we move into defining goals. Now that you've established where you've come from with your personal history, your victories, and your failures, now it's time to figure out where you are going. Um, and define your goal. As you see in the little picture to the left, we have the first step is to set a goal. Second step, make a plan. Third step, get to work. Fourth step, stick to it. And the fifth step is to reach that goal. But first, you have to define your goal by defining your dream. What is the dream for your life? And now is the time to figure out, and don't censor yourself. It's okay to dream big. It's okay to just reach for the moon. And if you just so happen to land on a star, but first you have to reach for the moon. You just can't reach for the stars. Um, the best line to just go with and just flow with is my dream is finish it. So what is your dream? Is your dream to be a cartoonist? Is your dream to be a interior designer? What is your biggest dream? You may be working at McDonald's right now, but that doesn't mean you don't have a huge dream to own your own restaurant of gourmet style foods. Dream as big as you want. Don't let your current circumstances hold you back from dreaming as big as you want to. Um, and continue on the same step of defining your goals. Um, You have to also make sure that you're setting goals that motivate you, um, because that's what's going to keep you going. If you're setting a goal for someone else, then those aren't your goals, and that's not going to motivate you to keep going. If you're setting a goal because that's what you really want in life, and it feels like it gives you a sense of purpose, and you're passionate about it, then you're going to keep with that goal, even when times are hard, even when you experience failures. You're going to keep going. And then also make sure you set SMART goals. And I know we've all heard this from school, SMART goals, SMART goals, SMART goals. but it's actually so relevant to defining your goals and defining creating your personal brand story. And isn't it nice to know that some things we learned in school aren't completely useless and we can apply them to our everyday life? Your SMART goals are specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time bound. So when you're writing your goals, dream big, but then also do it smart. Make it specific, make it measurable, make it attainable, relevant, time bound, and then write them out and make action plans. You have to write your goals out and they have to be visual and something that you can see every day, anytime, whenever you need to. Just having goals in your head, even if you have these goals in your mind and you've made the SMART goals list for each of these goals, you can't physically see it. And it's just something about seeing these goals on paper and the action plan to get to them that just makes it that much more easier. When times are hard and you feel like you kind of stray off your path, having SMART goals or having your goals written down for you to visually see them make all the difference in the world. And also, if you go further down on my site, quishae.com, um, you will also see I have a post about how to make vision boards, because I also believe that having a vision board where you can visualize your dreams and your goals are just that much more of a motivation. You know, I love this little keep calm post over here to the side, keep calm and achieve your goals, because it's really all about that. With having an action plan and having your goals written out in a SMART goal format, you can kind of keep calm about the things you're doing because you have a plan of action. And all you have to do now is reach it. And once you have figured out your personal brand story, you figured out your history, your personal history, your failures, your successes, your goals. Now it's time to share that story with the world. You know your success, your future, and now is the time. First, you need to assess, though, what the world already knows about you. So you need to research your name, and also known as your brand, because you are a brand. But go ahead and do some research. Google search, Bing search, Yahoo search, whatever you have to do to find out what is already out there about you, because you will be surprised. Remember those old social media sites from high school? No? Well, the internet does. The internet remembers everything you've ever done and posted. Even those Facebook posts you wrote when you're really upset and they do not show you in the best light. Yeah, don't remember those? Well, the internet definitely does. You really just have to figure out what is out there about you on the internet already and clean it up. Clean up those social media sites. Clean up those blog posts. Clean up those old websites that have things about you that aren't really showing you in the best light. Go through all your social media sites and blogs and comments and clean them up a bit. You know, delete some things that you maybe wrote when you were real heated and they don't necessarily show you in the best light. You can go ahead and delete those. It's okay. Um, but I'm not saying that you have to delete everything and start from scratch. Just the things that at the time they weren't the best things to post, maybe. Um, yeah. And then share it with the world. Now, one of my most favorite ways to do um, sharing personal brand stories is through online. Also on my website, quishae.com, I have an example of my own personal brand story. Um, and basically, it's just a way to showcase it. It's an easier way to showcase it to the world. You know what you've gone through. You know your failures. You know what you're trying to do and your goals. And having someone create you a personal brand story video is an excellent way to just get that your story out that much easier, that much quicker, in a way that more people will cling to it, relate to it, and go for it. Yet again, I just want to thank you so much for watching this webinar. If you have any tips, tricks, or stories yourself, please share them with me. Also, if you've already created your personal brand story and you may need help with some direction on how to share it to the world, please feel free to email me, quishaelam@gmail.com. It's QUISHAELOM@gmail.com. And I would love to help you personally and professionally um, in any way that I can. Yet again, I thank you guys so much for going on this journey with me for this webinar. I appreciate you so much. And I look forward to some of you guys' personal brand stories. Um, and I hope you enjoy your day. Thank you. Good night.